He was a joke.
So they couldn't figure it out.
No, that's it. And then they put one here.
What's in my?
Still?
There's insulation up there, but you
Too much. How
can't.
about with you?
They said two mount straps, but they said it's either a bat or a mouse. They said it's a bat.
Yeah, but weren't they looking at, was that the time frame when they were looking at those videos, or I forget what you use? Oh,
I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but my heater is doing like this clanking. Like that's what we see. I don't know what I clank. It's so
I don't know what that is.
horrendous.
no, I haven't. heard
Okay.
anything, but
Yes, they're on. I
Yeah,
don't care.
everybody's-
I don't care if anybody knows.
Yeah, everyone's listening. It's about my attic.
I know.
This is like.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Luzerne County Board of Elections and Registration, January 17th, 2024, regular meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Where's the flag?
I just X'd that.
Where's the flag?
Should we bring it in? Or?
I think it's out in the rotunda.
Anybody got one of those little pins? We'll just leave that. There we go. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
Republic
republic
which stands one nation under God and
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, roll call. Ms. Vasaro? Here. Mr. Schramm?
Here.
And Ms. Williams here. Prior to the adoption of the agenda, we need someone willing to take the meeting minutes.
Give me a pen.
Thank you, Ms. Vasaro. Ms. Vasaro is going to take the meeting minutes. Thank you.
You want to do it?
No, that's all right.
Okay. Do you need, Alyssa?
Thank you.
I'll get it.
Okay.
I could just type on.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
It's probably easier than
Yeah.
handwriting them.
Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I make a motion to adopt it.
Mr. Schramm, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Vasaro. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? None heard? Agenda's adopted. We'll now move into public comment on agenda items only. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters listed on the agenda. It's limited to 3 minutes and 1 comment time per person. And we'll start with those who are in person. Would anybody like to speak? Doesn't appear that way. We'll move to the Zoom platform. If there's anyone who would like to speak, you can hit the raise hand button at the bottom.
Madam Chair, this is Mark Rabo speaking. I can't hit the raise hand button. I think that something's wrong with the Zoom platform with the app because I had a problem with this at the last county council meeting. So can I speak?
Yes, just state your municipality, Mr. Rabo.
Yes, Mark Rabo from Hazleton. I would like to speak on agenda item regarding the government study question, the explanation being proposed. I would like to inform the board that the study question cannot be changed in any way since it has to be verbatim, one of the three questions, which is question number 2. I hope that everyone's aware of that. And as far as the explanation goes, I'm kind of bewildered by that as far as the explanation because of the fact that, I mean, is this going to be something like very verbose in terms of the explanation? Because Madam Chair, you and the board and the Bureau shall well know, most people don't read verbose explanations when it comes to referendum questions. They like it pithy and succinct, that they can understand, and it's like at an 8th grade level. So I hope that you and the rest of the board will make it pithy and easy to understand and not convoluted as the previous referendum question or to amend the charter was. Also, I would like to know, as far as with regards to the study question pertaining to the candidates' petitions, when will they be out? Because I don't know. It says that it has to be, the petitions have to be out, but they have to be turned in by the 13th Tuesday. So does the Bureau have any idea when those petitions will be available, or will we all have to wait on bated breath or until the press is informed on that? Those are my questions, and I hope that this is all taken into consideration for your discussion on that matter. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rabo.
I would like to answer something. Mr. Rabo, that is in discussion, and it looks like we're going to be getting an update from the office today, and we will have that. I believe that they are in the works right now. So in getting that accomplished, those petitions. So you should see that that was discussed today. So.
Okay, we'll move on. Dave.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, state your name, full name and municipality, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is Dave Chomp from West Pittston, and I'm not sure if this would fall under the purview of the agenda, but I have a question about the Election Bureau having an updated list of the Republican Party, the Luzerne County Republican Party committeemen. Can I ask about that now?
That would be a non-agenda item. That's
okay, then I will ask in the next segment. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else online would like to speak? If you're on a phone line, you can just unmute, which is *6, and start talking. Doesn't appear that there is anybody else who is interested in providing public comment. So we will move on to the approval of the meeting minutes from December 13th, 2023, our regular meeting. They were attached to the agenda online and here pages 3 through 5. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve them.
Mr. Schramm makes the motion, seconded by Ms. Busara. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstentions, opposition, none heard. The meeting minutes from December 13th, 2023 regular meeting are approved. We'll now move into the agenda items. We'll start with the Election Bureau items. And the first item on the agenda is certificates of election for information and status of issuance.
So, everyone that we have has been in compliance except for one gentleman for Denison Township Supervisor. He has not filed any reports with the Bureau, and as of today, he owes us $1,000. He came in, excuse me, last week, stating he did not want to pay the fees. I spoke with the Township Secretary. We've been going back and forth. And so it's my understanding if he does not pay the fees by their next meeting, the township will be able to appoint someone if he doesn't pay them. So that's where we're at with that. And I know you sent an email with questions on a couple other people as well. And I have Ms. Cook working on that. She's working with our consultant on that as well. She sends her apologies. She couldn't be here tonight, but she is working on that. We'll get that to you as soon as we have it.
Okay, I sent 2 emails and I specifically requested on the second email that I would receive the information prior to this meeting. And the information I shared with you where there are 11, well, there are now 9, either candidates or committees whose reports are not online, the 30-day post-election reports. And is it not correct that they must be submitted in order to receive an election certificate?
Again, she's working on that with our consultant. That's why we brought him in to give advice for that.
No, my
because-
question is, and maybe it's for Attorney Molino. Are candidates who do not submit their reports, the required reports, allowed to receive election certificates?
They shouldn't. I mean, that is one of the criteria that they be complying with campaign finance law, whether that be filing reports, statements. Sometimes we refer to them as waivers. And
And
The
it
board.
appears to me that they've been issued, and I've been told now they've been issued and they shouldn't have been.
Right, but that's not true because some of the list, you're saying they're missing certain parts of it. And again, we take in the papers and we file them. So if they're missing certain parts, we don't nitpick some of these. We take in what we're being filed with us because we're the filing office. So again, I know Ms. Cook is working on that with our consultant to make sure that we are in compliance with that.
Okay, so we have one on the failed to file list who received and did not file the reports, but paid the fees, but the Bureau did not require that person to file the reports and gave the certificate of
Right,
for
and a staff
election.
member took that and they should have made him file the report. And that staff member called him and told him to file the report. We don't have the report as of right now.
So what
He
does
came in
that,
and paid the fees, should have filed the report. So we called him. I'm not sure of the next step for that.
well, this person is already appointed.
Correct.
So for anybody else, then going forward, if they don't file their reports, could they say, well, that person didn't file their reports and they were able to get their election certificate?
I don't believe so, no. And again, that was one of our staff members gave them the report, gave them the certificate once they paid the fees. They owed over $900 in fees. They paid that. They should have filed the report. The staff member then called them to let them know they needed to file the report. I don't know what more we can do right now. The candidate paid the fees. That's over $900.
But
So,
it's not just the fees that they're required to file
Right,
the.
and we told them that
reports.
as well. So
Right.
there's nothing I can do at this point, except for fix it in the
Well,
future.
what can we do as far as we obviously don't give them the certificate, correct? So they don't get their certificate and
Well, they did.
they did,
We did.
they got the certificate.
Because they
even though-
came in and paid the fees, it was over $900. So the staff member gave them the certificate, but they did not file the report.
Oh,
The
they
staff
still
member
didn't
then
file
reached
it.
out to them, letting them know that they need to
Okay.
file the report. They
Sorry,
did not
this is
file
hard.
it.
Now,
I know.
these other ones that I questioned that did not file their 30-day report, they all received their certificates as well?
I did, I believe so. Again, this is a question for Ms. Cook, and I know she's working on that with Attorney Gates. I asked her to have this prepared for tonight, and Attorney Gates is working on that with her.
Right, now, I sent the first email January 8th. And then I followed up 2 days ago to say I didn't receive a reply, and I'd really like this information before the meeting. I just want to say, you know, going forward, my theme for this year, I would like to use as cooperation.
Right.
On both our parts. If you send me an email, I'll get right back to you. And I'm going to get back to you very quickly, probably within an hour at the
Right,
most.
and I know there
And
was,
so I would just ask that the same come for the board.
right,
as
and I
well.
agree. She should have written back and said, I'm working on this, because I asked her twice to respond. So I agree, there should have been a response. And again, I know right now we're very busy there. We have a lot going on and a lot on our plates. So we're trying our best to work on this. It hasn't been ignored.
Just saying, going forward, if you're going to have requirements for campaign finance, which are in the election code, in its law, then you have to look at all of this. And I thought there was a spreadsheet that you were all, you know,
There is, but
checking it
again,
off.
you're picking apart certain areas of reports and saying they didn't file a report when they did, based on what I was reading from that. So again, they did file reports, but you're saying they're missing certain parts of reports. So
No, there are several with no 30-day report at all. I'm not talking about the ones that, there were just sections of the report that weren't there. Besides there are 5 others that I wrote and that do not have online a 30-day report. I did ask, well, maybe they just weren't uploaded, and I
and
gave
they
you the
very well could-
opportunity.
They very well could be, just
But,
not uploaded.
I mean, that was important because
Right.
I wouldn't even be talking about this now
Right,
if
well,
they were
again,
weren't just uploaded.
Let's wait for Ms. Attorney Gates and Ms. Cook to give us a response, and we'll have that to you as soon as we can.
Okay, but I'm just saying it's a little late now because they've already been all issued their certificates. There's no one except for the one who you spoke
Right,
about.
and I'm sure that they filed their reports, otherwise we would not have issued the certificate except for that one case.
All right, I will add this to the February agenda
Okay.
as a follow-up too for the public's sake. Because I mean, you may respond to me, but I'm
Right.
sure the public would like to also
Yeah, and
know the
I'll make sure Ms.
answer to
Cook
the
is here for
question.
that meeting as well.
Any other board members have any input on that?
No, none for me.
Okay, item number 2, the ballot printing vendor. This was on for information and status.
Okay, so we put our bid out like we do every year, and it will be coming down Friday, 119. It was supposed to come down last Friday, but we only had one company bid. As of today, when I left work, we had just 2 bids so far. So we have 2 more days, but so far we just have 2 bids.
When do you need to have that contract signed by?
No, we don't have to have a contract signed by any, I mean, the sooner the better, just because the election's in April.
Right, but I mean, I know we set up that MOU between the board and the bureau that we would also be able to, you know, review contracts prior.
Right.
So just,
Oh, yeah, we'll even include you, I mean, like we did last time, we're going to interview these companies, we're gonna have a process, we'll make sure you know, the board has all of the information as well. We're not just gonna sign it and not let you guys have any input on it, so.
electronic poll book purchase. This was on the agenda for information from the poll worker surveys and status of the purchase.
So we sent out a survey back in December asking their input.
Sorry?
I wasn't done with that one. It's one we can, but I don't know. I just, with the, you know what, it's better if I don't mention it anyway. Go ahead, we're good.
We sent out a survey. Almost all of the people that took the survey had a positive response. They really liked the knowing poll books. They said they were very easy to use. They liked everything about it. So we made the decision to move forward with the purchase of them. I believe we had an order confirmation on the 12th that everything was ordered. I don't have an anticipation date yet on when everything will come in, but I would bet it would be about 6 weeks. So we're looking at the beginning of March, which is plenty of time to get them in and to have Amanda train all the existing poll workers on it. And I know the board supported our decision for no ink a couple months ago when we talked about it.
And the purchase, the funding is still coming from the election integrity
Correct,
grant?
yeah.
With the no ink, with the training, you have the plan for putting that forward as far as timing goes and everything?
Not yet, just because we don't know when we're going. We're
it's gonna
anticipating,
come
yeah,
in.
we're anticipating they'll be in for the beginning of March. We're hoping. So we'll have a better
Did you
understanding.
get some sort of estimate on time from Millie or no?
Not yet.
Okay.
Maybe we can revisit that on the next agenda.
Election integrity grant, 90-day post-election report was on for information and approval by, and possible approval by board.
So we're working on that. I'm working on that right now. It's not due until February 5th. Just we had a lot of other deadlines the past couple weeks that we're working on, petitions and everything. So I'm working on that. I should have that early next week if it's sent to the board. I know Controller Griffith also wants to review it as well, so I plan on sending it to the board and Controller Griffith with enough time for everyone to review before it's submitted.
Yeah.
Because this is just the one-page report. This isn't the big one that we send in the summer to DC. This is just the one page from what we spent so far with the grant from the last election.
So you'll forward that for a board
Yes.
review
Mhm.
prior. Now, I believe the board has to sign that?
Yes.
The board members?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Campaign expense. Wait, I'm just going to go back to that for a minute. Okay, so February 5th is before our next meeting. And you know, there are only 3 of us. So does it require 3 signatures?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of
Usually
everything
has
is
to
3.
Okay,
I can even drop it off at your house if you don't want to come down. I'll even drive it to you, just because I don't want to inconvenience you to come down.
can it be scanned in and emailed to us?
Yeah.
To review prior to just,
Yep,
yeah.
I
absolutely.
usually can make it. It's just.
Can it be
lazy.
signed electronically?
That's fine too.
Campaign expense report compliance form for submission to PA Department of State.
So this one was submitted in December. I'm not sure what, this is the one we submitted. The only thing that we have to submit for this is for row offices to the state, which the only row offices we had on the ballot were the magistrate judges. So, I mean, this is something that we submitted already.
And that's for campaign finance. There are no others.
No, it's just this one. I checked with them too.
Okay. This, you know, in addition to, I can add this in, the campaign finance. The forms that are submitted electronically, you can't read them online. I can't read them. That was one of the two, there's no, you can't bring them up. You can't click on them and it won't pop up. You have this little bitty box where it is, and you can't read those. The public cannot read that.
What
So
form are you
is there
talking?
another way or format, or they can be processed and uploaded, what, like print them out and then scan them in?
Are you talking about campaign finance?
Yeah, the reports.
That's what we've been doing. We've been taking, our process for the online forms is when they come in, we take a screenshot of everything and then we print them out and then we scan them in. So there shouldn't be anything small online. That should be the process. It should be, the first page is the screenshot of we do that so that way it shows the time and the date it was submitted. And then we actually print out the report and we scan that all in, and all of those documents should be on there. That's how I was doing it when I was doing it over the Christmas break.
There are quite a few where it's not that way.
Okay.
And 3 in my email
Are they included
specifically
in
who were elected. You cannot bring them up, and you could, I wrote it, the ones that you cannot bring them up, and I can't read it. And it appears that some of them don't have their additional forms that are supposed to be behind the front page
Okay,
on there. So you can look at those 3, but my question goes back to is, some of them I could figure out that they were just the affidavits. So I didn't need to really see the fine print, but is there a better way? I think there would be a better way so that they can all come up large like most of them do.
Right.
Yeah, so that they're readable. Otherwise, they're not readable at all. So that would be my request. And if they could be adjusted, the ones that are on there, so that they are readable. And the last is 6, the Director's Election Bureau report. I put that so that you could share anything else you'd like to share.
okay, so right now we're working on petitions, which is a new process to us for some of these offices, as we were talking about the Government Study Commission. We got word that it's 200 signatures, and there's some other small tweaks we're working out. I plan to have everything available tomorrow for pickup for that. I got a couple of my questions answered, I believe, that I needed. So we're working on that. And then we also have the member of the County Republican Committee on the ballot as well, that we will be putting on. And then everything else comes from the state for the ballot. So, and we're also we will be doing a petition training for those 2 offices on Monday, January 22nd. We'll be doing that here at 2 o'clock, and then we're going to record it for people who can't make it in person, and we'll be putting that on our website for people who, we're going to be doing this every year now for people, because I noticed last year was a big municipal election, and a lot of people came in that didn't have the right forms filled out, and they were missing things, and they had to come back. So yeah, I want to do this so that way we make sure everybody who wants to get on the ballot has an easier time than if we didn't train them. So I think that's something that we'll try to do annually.
So it's this Monday,
The 22nd, yeah,
2
2
p.m.
p.m. It'll be in room 301.
of
Penn
Penn
Place, yeah.
Place.
And
301.
then if anyone can't make it, we will be putting the recording on our website for people to access at a later time. So, I mean, we're working on ordering our supplies, because as you know, the election's in April this year, not May, for the primary, things like paper, seals. We're working on sending out the polling place agreements, trying to make sure we get those out in time. And then just some updates for the office. The Bureau will be participating. We have 2 SURE trainings that we've been trying to get the Department of State and SURE to do a training, because years in past, they used to do a training. And I know when I was here in 2021 and last year, they did not do any type of training. And I know we have a few new people in the office, so there's going to be some trainings that will be held virtually. There'll be about an hour and a half coming up at the end of the month. And all of our staff will be participating in those. It's just going to be processing. One training is basic processing of voter reg applications and everything. And the other one will be processing mail-in absentee ballot applications. So, and I'm requiring all the staff to be on both of them. Even for people who have been here a long time, just a refresher. So just so we don't have any issues going forward, we just want to make sure everybody in the office is being trained properly.
Just a follow-up question to the SURE. I know there was a time that, well, my question is, the only people that go on shore go on with their own access cards. No one shares access
No.
cards.
Nope.
Also, I had a question from a member of the public about the permanent mailer that went out.
Okay.
On the back on a mail-in ballot application, it has a number 7 section where you can check a checkbox that you want to have this, all your mail-ins, you want to vote mail-in for the year. And this mailer didn't have that. Was the letter, the letter referencing it sufficient?
Yeah, so that letter came from the Department of State. They sent us the template for that. And that one is different than if you were to go online to the Department of States and apply for it, just because those letters we sent out were to people who are already on the permanent list, so they wouldn't need to check that box because they're already on it. So that's why that one's different than, I know if I went on when we got a voter who called this morning and was confused about it. And I made sure I went on Department of State and I said, oh, that's why this is different, because the template we were using from the state is different if you're already on the permanent list, so you wouldn't need to check that box. So, and once they fill out that form, send it back, they'll be good for this year for both elections and a special election if one was to occur. And then, what was I gonna say? Lost my train of thought there. But yeah, the one online is different just because. And then if they do get the letter, we are telling people, because some people do call and say they don't remember being on the list or ever applying for one and they don't want to be on it. We tell them there's a top part on there. You could remove yourself from the list. If you
Yeah, it's
don't,
like a little checkbox.
yeah, if you don't, yeah, you just fill
log
that
in
out
and
and send
you-
it back
yeah.
if you don't want to be on the list. So.
Anything else? Anything from, any questions, anything from input from the board?
No, I think.
Okay, we'll move to the item under the board, which is the revised Government Study Commission ballot questions, explanation of the question, which was page 6 on the agenda. This is on the agenda for information, discussion and approval by the board. We'll open that up for discussion. I guess I'll start. First, I'd like to thank the Office of Law solicitors who put this together. This newly presented version explains to me more the explanation of the question more clearly and fully to the voters. The purpose of the ballot question, the limitation and effects of the ballot question, which are actually the requirements in the referendum handbook. I think they added actually more than what I was requesting, which I felt that we had left out or kind of missed. And so I was putting it back on the agenda, and then they presented this. And I'm thinking it's pretty comprehensive. I think it explains everything. I think it's concise. I think that it's easy for the voters to read, and it covers everything. I mean, there's there are several things the voters need to know about what can happen. It's not just one thing with this, the recommendations from a government study commission, and who makes it up, how it would go into effect and when. So I think it's all covered here. Other board members?
So I read it over and I think that, I think it's pretty comprehensive. I think that I just think that the language used in this is very, no, it's very like agree to another shall, and you know what I mean? It's not a very,
Denise, can you read that?
It's on the back of the agenda.
it's right on the back of the agenda, last page.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
Um, Yeah, that's all I pretty much had to add was, it just seems like it's not as plain English as I would like it to be, but that's just my opinion.
Is there anything specific that you're talking about? Any specific wording? Or are you just saying overall?
Yeah, but I don't know what word would be used instead of it. I can't recommend this whole thing, and I'm like trying to figure, I was trying to figure out before, I'm like, what would I use instead? And I wouldn't know what to use instead to change it. So I mean,
The only thought I would have on it is where you come to the commission could recommend that the former government shall remain unchanged, recommended. If they were broken down where the former government shall, 1, remain unchanged, 2, recommend a new home rule charter, 3, propose changes to the current home rule charter, 4, recommend limiting, so that you could itemize each of the choices that would be available from the study group of what they would recommend, rather than just have a one giant run-on sentence. So remain unchanged, 2, recommend a new home rule charter, 3, propose changes to the current home rule charter, 4, recommend Luzerne County be governed by the third-class county code, which is the form of government Luzerne County had prior to adopting the current home rule charter. 5, or recommend other actions if they were numbered.
yeah, but then they may think that is inclusive of all of them, which is the problem that I see what you're saying, because that was the problem I had, was that somebody may think that all of these, it's all or none, and and that was what I was looking at, was like an all or none thing.
Well, when you come down there at the end, or
Unless each,
6,
after each
recommend.
number it had the thing, and then it had or, and then it had number 2, and then it had or. I don't know. I don't know what else we could do to make it. This is what's posted in the polling places, right? We're talking about.
Yeah.
It also has to be publicized in different ways. Yes, it's mandated.
It goes in, it goes in the notice as well.
Yeah, the proclamation.
Public.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
And it
it
has
is
to be,
posted at 3 locations at each
Yeah.
polling place.
and also it has to be publicized in the newspaper, but that would be by the county council.
I mean, if I can give you the rationale for the breakdown, basically, the first portion of this comes from section 2911 of the act, of the Home Rule Charter Optional Plans Law. And we chose specifically question version number 2. So, if this question is approved by a majority of those voting, take that to the section where it talks about what the commission could recommend. Then that section, which Mr. Schramm was discussing, the different options, that's taken from section 2923, types of action that could be recommended. And then after you get to the part about, let's see, such other action as it deems advisable, consistent with its functions as set forth by law, then the rest of it basically tries to explain the limitations of this, and also that the voters decide. This is not a decision that this government study commission would make and then we're stuck with it. They would make a recommendation, but that has to be approved by the voters. So, I think as the chair was indicating, in looking at the advice that's in the the home rule handbook, the statement must be in plain English. It is to indicate the purpose, limitations, and effects of the ballot question to the people.
Right, and that's fine, and that's the other part that I had, are they gonna read that far? You know what I mean, because they need to, a lot of people think that Government Study Commission, that's it, be all, end all, they are making all the decisions. And that's not the case. It's, they make a recommendation, they think about it, they put it on the ballot for the people to vote on. It's not something that just,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
don't-
just
Right.
something that once the Government Study Commission passes that they, but is there a way to make that more clear to the people is that that they get to vote on all the changes?
I mean, it says it
You
right
know,
in
I
there.
know
They-
it does,
Right
but
in
they're
here.
not gonna read that
I
far.
mean,
No.
we can't help that.
No,
They don't read that
No,
far.
it's
but
all
there's-
there, and I'm afraid if anything I don't think there's anything that could be taken out to shorten this, because everything appears very necessary for the public voters
Right,
to know. I think it's very concise. I think they put everything in that needs to be in there. I think it's, again, I just want to thank the officer. I think they did a very good job on this. I think it covers everything and explains everything, and it does it very well.
And I'd also just note, and this goes to the gentleman's question, who's on the Zoom platform. This will not be on the ballot. The
right,
board previously approved the question. And as he indicated, that's by statute. That's word for word coming from the statute. That's what will appear on the ballot. This longer explanation is just going at the polling place. So, if that gentleman was concerned that they're going to be at the ballot box and up on the screen is going to be this entire thing, but that's not
What's gonna be
correct.
on the ballot box?
Just the question that was approved last month.
I apologize, what was that question?
Um, Second,
Sorry.
no problem. I'll read it. I just
and
want to make sure I read it correctly. It comes from section 2911 of the act, and it's the second choice. There's three options. Shall a government study commission of, and our Luzerne County Council chose 7 members. If you could choose 7, 9, or 11. Shall a government study commission of 7 members be elected to study the existing form of government of the county of Luzerne, to consider the advisability of the adoption of a home rule charter, and if advisable, to draft and to recommend a home rule charter. I think I got that.
right, and the question that is also placed on the ballot is very specific. It cannot be changed according to the statute. There you have 1, 2, 3, right? There's 3 questions
correct.
that you can choose from in the statute. And county council chose that statute. We have no control over that. That is according to the state law. So,
And then the second choice would be the selection of government study commissioners, the candidates running. And there will be an instruction that voters should vote for those offices regardless of their vote on the question. So if a voter votes no, they don't agree that a commission should be formed, they would still
vote.
choose candidates.
Is there a heading that's put together
I'm
for
not-
that, and who puts it together?
I, would assume the Bureau, it does indicate that instruction has to be given. I mean, what that exactly looks like, I don't want to answer definitively now, but
I mean, could I request that the board and the Office of Law also review that, whatever is put together between the Bureau and the Office of Law, that the board also have an opportunity to review that wording? Because I know there is a statutory requirement to make that notation about voting regardless. Pretty sure I read that someplace.
yeah, it's voters are to be instructed to vote for members of the Government Study Commission regardless of how they voted on the question of having a study commission. It goes on to say in that same section, I'm just looking at the handbook now. Must have been a previous court decision. The Commonwealth Court has held placing these instructions on the ballot is a mandatory procedure. So it has to be on there.
So if we could just make sure we also have an opportunity to review that, and just to make sure we get that good. But back to this, I just want to address Dan, Mr. Schramm's mention about the numbering. I think Alyssa mentioned something about, but then voters think that means you're choosing between 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and I'm thinking that could possibly be confusing
Yeah.
to a voter, thinking they're choosing a number out of that. I just would worry about that with numbering anything. Anybody else? Input? Sir,
Okay.
okay. Is there a
Motion to
motion?
approve.
Motion to approve made by Ms. Fusaro. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, let me take a roll call vote. Ms. Fusaro,
Yes.
Mr. Schramm,
Yes.
Ms. Williams, yes. The motion passes to approve the revised off explanation of the ballot question for the Government Study Commission 2024 primary ballot question. Okay. Back to here. We'll now move into public comment on non-agenda items. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board on matters not listed on the agenda, but which must be within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. It's also limited to 3 minutes and 1 comment time per person. We'll start with those who are in person. Is there anybody in person who would like to speak? Doesn't appear that way. I'm sorry, go right ahead. Just come on up to this desk if you'd like, and we have there's a microphone right in front of Attorney
Oh,
Williams.
yeah.
I got a big mouth. I can talk.
Well, the public wouldn't be able to, might not be able to hear you on the Zoom platform.
TJ Fitzgerald, Newport Township. Over the last couple of weeks, I have requested some information from and help from Ramilda Crocker-Mo and Aaron Harvey. And I have to say that Aaron Harvey has gotten me all the paperwork that I needed for committee people for the Republican Party. Thank you very much. Was very responsive, was there on time, and then I was a little confused afterwards. I also want to thank Alyssa, Sarah, Walter Griffith. They actually came down and helped us, educate us on how to do it correctly. I think that was an issue I've had over the last couple of years of coming to these meetings, that there's not enough education, there's not enough information, and we don't have enough public to government staff intermingling and helping each other. And I think that goes a long way with making the public feel like they're listened to. I think that's going to go a long way in the future if we just can start having these meetings. From what I understand, a couple of weeks ago, I talked to Ramilda in the Rotunda, and for 2 years, I've been asking for video, and I think I've even talked to you about it a year or so ago, about a video about maybe showing people how to do things on a video on a YouTube channel, because people really don't. Even when they vote with the new machines, there should be a video. Everything should be out there in today's technology to make it educational, informative for the common person to be able to feel that their vote's going to count, that they know what they're doing, and the government should always be responsive to the people. After all, we pay your salaries. And I was very impressed with Aaron Harvey this week. I heard that Ramilda is going to have a video on how to fill out some of these things. That's what I heard today. I haven't talked to her, so hopefully that's true. If so, I applaud her. I think we're just showing that even though we don't have a staff there that's been there long, and I've had a lot of issues in the past, and we're gonna have some issues, but I think they're actively trying to correct a lot of the, whatever word you want to use, issues of the past. And again, I think today when you were asking Aaron, from what I understand about the thing, I think that I don't think I'd ever want to work in the government because, I was talking to Ramilda the other day and I was like, well, why can't we do this? Or why can't we educate? Or why can't we just fire people? And she said she can't because they're some of them are union workers, and there's rules and there's policies, and I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm in the private world. Because I would put stuff, I would hold the bar, I would have people stay late. And some of the people, our hands are tied. I'll wrap this up. But I just wanted to say that, listen, we need this, we need communication, we need the government to outreach. I guess Ramilda's going to nanny code. And I really appreciate that too. I think that we have to get more people from the public involved. I think that people from the government, even this place, the board, should be out teaching people how to do stuff. If we taught people, there wouldn't be as many mistakes, there wouldn't be as many fines, and there wouldn't be as many issues. So we need to be proactive teaching the public so we know what we're doing. We're not making mistakes on purpose. We're making mistakes because we're new to this and we're just trying.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else in person who'd like to speak? Okay, we'll move to the online platform. Walter Griffith.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a couple of points that I want to make. I will be sending an email to the county manager about the flags in the council meeting room. I think it's embarrassing for me as an elected official and an employee of the county for us to have a room without a flag in it. And I do understand it. You know, we have to put them in the rotunda on occasion, but this is a big county with a $158 million budget. I don't see any reason why we can't purchase a permanent flag for that room, and we won't have that issue in the future. So I will send that email off to the county manager. It might be something that we can address and eliminate that problem because it was there for Tuesday when we had our 8th Commission meeting as well. Kind of embarrassing. So hopefully we can fix that problem. The second item I have is the idea to do the training session by the Bureau of Elections and the manager is a great customer service outreach to people to let them understand that we're interested in their ability to fill out these petitions correctly. So kudos to the Bureau and to the manager for actually reaching out with positive information to try and train people correctly. So we don't have to do these offshoot training sessions for people. That's something that the Bureau should be doing. And that way they're sure to get the most accurate information. I consider myself pretty knowledgeable. However, I'm probably not near as knowledgeable anywhere close to the people in the Bureau of Elections that do it day in and day out. So I think it's important that we give the correct information and the most accurate. So thank you to the Bureau for doing that. Also, I heard that Ms. Harvey said that the controller is going to be a part of that 90-day review. I'm glad that that's happening because the more eyes we put on that paperwork, the better. And we've done that in the past. And so I appreciate the fact that we're going to have the controller's office as well as the Board of Elections look at that document to make sure that we put in as much information as we need to. And we are held accountable by the state for the money that they gave us. The last item that I have on my agenda is the lack of council action in appointing the 2 members of the board. I think I saw in the paper today that they're going to put it on the agenda for Tuesday. So kudos to the council for recognizing the fact that that board needs to have a full complement in a presidential election. So hopefully on Tuesday, we'll get 2 more members to sit on that board to help the board along the way. I think they were remiss in not doing it at the last meeting, but I certainly understand their reasoning. But now that they recognize how important it is to have those 2 people, I'm glad that they're going to put it on the agenda Tuesday to address that matter. So I think it's very, very important that we do that and we get that all taken care of properly. So thanks again for the board's hard work in the last election. And I look forward to good things coming up in the future as we move forward in the presidential. Thank you for the also the poll books. I think that's a great move forward on the no ink poll books. I think they were a good product from the review of the RFPs and all the information. I think they were the better choice. And I think the voters will be very pleased when they see the new product in the primary. So thank you very much, Madam Chair. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Anybody else online?
Madam
I
Chair,
don't
this
see
is
any-
Mark Rabo speaking.
Go right ahead.
This is Mark Rabo from Hazleton speaking. Madam Chair, first of all, I want to thank the solicitor, attorney. I hope I pronounced his last name correctly. I'm terrible with the last names. Marino or Molino. Thank you. Molino, thank you. I appreciate his explanation, and I do concur with that. Even though I don't agree with the Office of Law's interpretation of question number 2, because as you read, as the solicitor read, question number 2 said basically confines it within the alteration of home rule, the home rule charter itself, and not go to optional plan or the county third-class county code. That would be question number 3. Even like so, that was by Attorney Skeen, the chief county solicitor, and I don't agree with him on his interpretation of question number 2. I think question number 2 is very self-explanatory, very plain English, that it confines the option of amending the home rule charter or drafting a new charter, but does not go off of the rails, so to speak, when it comes to going to optional plan or the third-class county code. Also, I would like to inform you, Madam Chair, and the members of the board, and Attorney Molino and Ms. Harvey, that under section 2912 of the home rule law, it also states that the candidates shall not have any kind of slogan or party affiliation next to their name once those petitions are turned in. That is part of section 2912 of the home rule law. So that means this is a nonpartisan thing. I just want to make that abundantly clear, that this government study commission is not partisan, meaning it's basically to fix whatever problems there are in the charter, or if the study commission wants to go to a new form of government. But this is not about partisanship. This is about our county government moving forward. And I hope that explanation makes it abundantly clear to the voters, and it doesn't scaremonger or fearmonger them into thinking that their government's going to be uprooted. Because I've heard that, Madam Chair, that some voters feel that their government, the county government's going to be uprooted or dissected, and that isn't necessarily always the case. I mean, there are certain cases, but that's not the case in the majority of times when there's a government study commission. So I just want to make that clear. So thank you, Madam Chair. I hope that this all turns out well for the 2024 primary. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to speak to that. First of all, Attorney Molino, is that correct?
The earlier?
The first part of it,
No,
where,
no, when he was talking about the different questions. Yeah, no, we didn't select the questions for optional plans, so our question just dealt with home rule charter. And
so we did
You-
select the one where you can't eliminate the charter, correct?
no, they can. You have to read the entire act, this entire law. You cannot just focus on one section. You have to read them all in conjunction with each other. And section 2923 discusses the different actions recommended, including that catch-all, such other action as it deems advisable, consistent with its functions as set forth in this law. And then you go down to section 2967 is for repeal. So when you read the entire statute, when you read the handbook, it makes it pretty clear what the options are for this government study commission, and the Office of Law stands by our opinion, and that's in the explanation. I'll just quickly read it again. The commission, if the voters even approve one, the form of government shall remain unchanged. They can recommend a new home rule charter. They can propose changes to the current charter. Or recommend, I know we have indicated third-class county code, because that if they recommended a repeal, we are a third-class county, so that's what would be followed. Typically by the whole county commissioner system.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
that's it. That's
You're saying everything's on the table?
yes,
Everything's on the table.
right. Exactly what is explained in that plain English explanation.
And Aaron, can
Yes,
you
thank you.
explain the other part?
So, yeah, I just wanted to answer Mr. Rabo on So typically, obviously, he's right with, this is a nonpartisan, the 7 people that will be elected on the ballot, they won't have a party. I'm going to double check with Department of State and other counties, because I know other counties have done this as well. Typically on a primary ballot, we usually list the candidate's name and their municipality. So I'm going to double check if it's just going to be the candidate's name or the candidate's name and the municipality. Just because we will not be putting a party on with the candidate's name for that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let the board
Yep.
know. Okay. Okay, Dave.
Hello, this is Dave Chomp from West Pittston. I have a question regarding an updated current list of the Luzerne County Republican Party committeemen. It seems like an updated list does not exist. I've scoured the archives of the website. I cannot find one. I've spoken with Ms. Harvey, and she indicated to me that she has been in touch with the chairman of the Republican Party trying to get this list to no avail. And it is my understanding that per Title 25, Section 2837 of the Pennsylvania Election Code, this updated list is, there's supposed to be a certified copy of an updated list provided to the voting board, which I would imagine that you don't have this, or else it would be on the website. I think it's extremely important that we get this updated list of committeemen as soon as possible, because people that are interested in running for committee, they would like to know who are in these seats right now. Are the seats vacant? Do they have incumbents? Who would they be running against? So I would like to pose the question, and maybe the solicitor can answer this. What can be done to compel the chairman of the Republican Party to provide this current and updated list to the board so that we can post it on the website? And I'll wait for your response. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think he's looking for that right
Yeah, I mean,
now.
I can't answer that off the cuff. I
Yeah.
know.
I'm not familiar with, and I've been on the board 2 years now, and I don't recall ever seeing a certified list of all these committee members, but from either party. But we'll look into that. Could you state the Title 25 reference that you were referencing again?
Yes, it's the Pennsylvania Election Code, Title 25, Section 2837 states that a certified copy with the names and addresses of all committeemen must be filed in the office of the County Board of Elections.
Okay.
Can we add that to the next agenda, please?
Yeah,
Thank you.
we will put it on the agenda, but in the meantime, we'll look into that. And
we don't have a current copy in the office.
okay, and you said you spoke with Ms. Harvey, so you have her number, you have his number?
I don't have his number. If you could give it to me, I would appreciate
I
it.
wouldn't do that.
Okay, you know what?
Don't get that over
Yeah, well,
the
never
Zoom
mind.
platform, but
I could give you my email.
Yeah, Aaron, I know how to get in touch with you.
All right,
okay.
thank you.
All right, so we will get to work on that and see what we can find out. I'm curious to find out the answer to that question as well.
Thank you,
And,
Madam Chair.
If that needs to be posted on any place on our website for
Yeah.
prior to the election,
The
or
issue is we don't have the list. I've asked for the list. I haven't received it. But I know previously, because I've asked some staff about it in the office, previously other party chairs have provided us with a list that we would keep on file if someone asked for it. But since the last election, I don't think we were provided an updated list.
yeah, I'm wondering if any other counties do this as well.
I just took a quick peek at this. I really didn't have a chance to digest it, but I think this is governed party rules. It's talking about that the county committee of each party may make such rules for the government of the party. Not talking about anything for the county, the party itself. And no such rules shall be effective until a certified copy thereof has been filed in the office of the County Board of Elections. So I don't see anything about a list of names. It's talking about sending rules, a certified copy of rules.
And we do receive those.
We have that, yeah,
Yes.
we have,
And
well,
that,
we have the bylaws.
okay, so that, again, a very quick read, but that's all I'm seeing here.
Yeah, because in the past, I know the Pennsylvania Department of State has sent us the bylaws of both the Democratic and the Republican parties. I have read through them. I have visited those. So,
Well,
Okay.
here's my question.
so then that would mean that this citizen's question is not to be directed to us, but to his question lies with the party chair.
Maybe, yeah. Again, I don't want to tell them what to do.
Right.
I mean, I'm just quickly looking at this section.
Well, we'll continue to look into it further and, okay.
I think that, I mean, it should be fairly simple to get a list of the names based on who's been elected, correct? Right? So, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard from the last election to look to see who holds those positions, correct? Or am I wrong?
Is it the role
I mean,
of
I'm
the
not
election
saying
bureau to
that,
do that?
I'm not saying that you have to
No.
go and do that. I'm just saying that
So-
the public, if they want to know that, they can do that.
The issue is with this, how I'm understanding it. So we certify the results of the election. The board certifies, we certify in the office. So let's just say, Abraham Lincoln lives in, I don't know, Larksville 2, and he's a registered Democrat, but, someone writes him in, he gets the nomination. So you have no way of saying, well, how are we supposed to know who's registered what? That's why that part is up to the chair. And from my understanding, the chair last time had to come in and had to decipher that. And that's why what was elected doesn't really match up with the list that they have, because that's on the party to say what, if they meet the qualifications after being elected.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I think we answered your question. I don't know if you had anything else. I think we got sidetracked with the conversation, Mr. Chompy. Was that all that you had?
Yes, I just, again, if it happens that it's not required by Pennsylvania election law, I just think that since the Board of Elections is sponsoring the election of these candidates, that it would be in the best interest of the public to have this updated list available for people to see who is who. And I noticed part of the issue is that people resign, people pass away, and then there's appointments made in the interim in that 4-year span from one election to another when you elect new committeemen. So I don't know how much of that information is continuously updated, but I'm just saying it would be helpful, and it would be very beneficial if we got cooperation from not just the Republican chair, but the Democrat chair, to have these lists online in the name of open and transparent government. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Glennon?
Hi, Claudia Glennon, Salem Township. Couple quick things. The Zoom platform, the gentleman that was having an issue raising the hand, I'd suggest maybe see if they can update their Zoom app, because I haven't had a problem. So I don't think it's with the county. This is just kind of a little pet peeve of mine, but with the polling places, and I know that they sign contracts, but some line out elements of the contract, and the one I know specifically of is the polling place in Salem, and they do not allow any candidate signs to be placed. And I talked to the pastor of that facility, And he said it was their board decided that, and they amend the contract to be in line with what their board wants. I think any place that's a polling place, it's should be nonpartisan and not affected by any kind of church affiliation. And I think all the contracts should be similar in nature and not allowed to line item elements of the contract. I just have issues with that. And the last thing is on the Government Study Commission, since the individuals that will be running for that commission, a nonpartisan party affiliations won't be delineated. In the petition signing, are any registered voters of Luzerne County able to sign those petitions?
Yes.
Okay.
To your contract question, just so you are aware, Ms. Glennon, the Board of Elections really has a very, very limited scope of even recommending anything when it comes to the, we make sure that there are,
Council passed the contract.
yeah, council does all of the contract, they do that. We make sure that there's, you know, they're compliant with certain things, and we help, but really the council approves the contract itself, and then the Bureau of Election actually seeks out the polling places. We approve polling places. We do vote on that, but we have very limited scope when it comes to the contract itself.
In the contract itself, is a very brief document. I think it should be updated. There's some things in there that I think are irrelevant, but again, council approves those contracts. I mean, if you read it, it's outdated, some of the stuff in there. But
Well, we've talked about that before. We've tried to change it before,
Right.
and we
And
couldn't
you
touch it
couldn't do
because
it.
they were the ones that put it out. So we have to
but
kind of.
I don't know if we would be able to ban political signs from polling places, because I know that law is 10 feet away
Right.
from the door. So, I
Do
don't
I still
know.
have it? It is in the contract that they're allowed. What I'm saying
It
is
is.
this polling place line items it out and says that they won't do it.
Okay, well, first off, this has come up before. I addressed this, I inquired about this 2 elections ago, and it was this same polling place
Mhm.
was not allowing the signs to be put up. But the contract states that they are allowed to do that. A polling place on election day is as long as anybody can put up their signs, is legal, and if the site signs a contract, the contract is the same for everybody that allows for this, and they're not allowing for this, then I think that needs to be addressed. And to contact that site, and if they're not willing, maybe seek another site
Right.
that
and
is willing to allow the signs to go up.
Well, and I'm going to have to pull that from Salem Township, because the contract they send back is the one we sent out. So we don't get anything back that says that. I mean, but there are a couple places in Wilkes-Barre that we were going to lose, because the political signs are an issue for a lot of churches and you know, priests, pastors, and we had 2 in Wilkes-Barre last election that we were going to lose. And I talked to the priest and they said, you gotta pick the signs up. So
Well,
I've driven down there, like
pick
the
them
day,
up.
sometimes they don't, and I've driven down there the day after and picked them up because I don't wanna lose that polling
Sure,
place,
But
so.
she's saying they won't allow any signs
Right,
to be put
but
up,
that's not-
not that they're not taking them
Right,
down.
right. But these signs seem to be an issue.
Yeah, but not allowing the signs to be put up is a separate issue.
separate
And I
issue.
think that needs, for any polls that do that, and I think that the Bureau or board is notified, I think that needs to be addressed. And I think that you need to know that on election day, a poll site is a poll site. It's not it's its own entity. And if a site is allowing it to be a poll site, then the contract states, and they're signing it, that they're allowing the political signs to be put up.
When is polling places on the agenda?
Probably not till March.
No, but when
Because we can
you,
discuss it.
are
and
you
go
getting
over
the
it.
contracts now?
I'm gonna send them out now.
Will you
So-
check with them to see
Yeah.
if they're going to allow it? And if not, I think maybe it needs to be,
We'll have to move it out.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's exactly what I was saying, because I took the contract in to show them. And I was told, we're familiar with what the contract says. We just line that out.
You can't do that.
Well, that's what I was told.
okay, well, we'll address that. Thank you. Is there anything else?
Thank
we
you.
cut-
No,
that talk?
thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak on public comment? If you're on a phone line, I believe there is one phone line, just go ahead and unmute *6 and go ahead and speak. Doesn't appear there's anybody else to speak. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
By Ms. Fusaro, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Schramm. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstentions, opposition, and her meeting adjourned at 7:15 PM. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. And if everybody would turn off their microphones.